The first sin committed in the Bible, what was it? It was a lie. As you recall, Satan lies to Eve, right? The last sin mentioned in the Bible, Revelation 22:15, is the liars. Oh, list of people that are going to hell. The last one of them is the liars. That's not by coincidence. That's on purpose. That the first sin mentioned in the Bible and the last sin mentioned in the Bible is the same sin, a lie. That's kind of important. That it starts and ends on that. Should be a solemn warning to everyone who fears God. And wokeism, what we're talking about today, critical race theory and woke ideology, not only is a lie, but it wants you to lie too. It wants to force you to tell a lie. Choose your words carefully, because you'll be judged by every word that comes out of your mouth. But I say to you, in Matthew 12:36, but I say to you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof on the day of judgment. Personally, I identify as a threat, and my pronouns are try me.
I'm invisible. I identify as invisible.
Is invisible.
Who is where? Those are my pronouns.
Wokeism, and then I'm going to umbrella it with CRT, critical race theory, and cancel culture. I was going to add the LGBTQI+++ community, but we're going to deal with our homo buddies next week instead after Daniel. The disease, the Cambridge Dictionary defines cancel culture as a way of behaving in a society or group, especially on social media, in which it is common to completely reject or stop supporting someone because we should have gotten that on mic. Because they have said or done something that offends you. What does the Bible say? Because everyone's offended in everything. The whole world is snowflakes. What does the Bible say? Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. If you love God's word, it's impossible to offend you. Nothing can offend you. If you love God, if you love him, if you love God's word, Psalm 119, 165, great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. Last year, Joe Rogan, a couple of years now ago, Joe Rogan, most popular yes?
Is that somewhere in the New Testament?
What?
That great peace.
Psalms 119.
That nothing shall offend them?
That's old.
Yeah.
Well, in the New Testament, it says everything that was written. You should have raised your hand and gotten the microphone. That would have been a good point. You blew it. You ruined it all. Now I'm offended. You offended me. The New Testament says everything that was written of old was written for our example. Everything. And is profitable for correction, rebuke, correction of error, a whole list, a whole diatribe. 2 Timothy 3:16. Last year, Joe Rogan, the world's most popular podcaster, 13 million subscribers. He has more than I have. Was that he don't even give out pens. He was a target of mainstream. So they tried to shut him down because he was telling people not to get the COVID vaccine.
He was right.
But they were trying to shut him down for that.
I don't have it.
Like, don't get it. Don't get the shot. Who cares? Like, why would you want to shut down this guy? In 2020, many called the cancer J.K. Rowling, the most popular author on the planet right now, if you don't count the Bible, and they never do. Because the Bible's always the number one printed, sold, and bought book in the world every year since the 1600s. And they don't count it anymore because it's so overwhelming. In fact, if you cut the Bible sales at half, they're still number one. You cut them in half, it's still number one. You could cut it in half 7 times, and the Bible is still the number one seller every year since the 1600s. So J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, who's no defender of scriptural and Bible living and is not a believer, but because she said men are men, girls are girls, there's a difference, Because of that, they tried to shut her down. Even closer to home, Christian conservative speakers have their speaking engagements on college campuses all over the world for holding a biblical worldview. They're trying to shut them down. You know what Jordan Peterson finally had to do? All of a sudden, like, he was getting canceled over and over and over again. And they were, when he would show up for the event, they would shut him down. The police, it got so overwhelmed with the riots and everything that he couldn't even speak at colleges anymore. You know how he solved the problem? He started having his meetings at 8 a.m. The first class. All them homos and everyone that was screaming at him and all that, and all the transvestites and all that, all the weirdos, yeah, they sleep until noon. They're partying all night long, and they're sleeping till noon. I know, it's true. But that's what he did, and all of a sudden he had no more arguments. He would gather, there was no more events, no more police, no nothing. We see it here with Charlie Kirk. Same thing. As America becomes more liberal and slides away from its Christian heritage every year, this problem's not going away, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to hit us. What's the first 21st century Western culture, Bible-believing Christians supposed to do about this? Well, we shouldn't be surprised, that's for sure. Jesus faced the same thing. The same thing happened to him. Cancel culture in Luke 4, 2,000 years ago, verses 16 to 30. All those in the synagogue were filled with wrath because of some of the things that Jesus had done, and rose up and thrust him out of the city. They'd led him to the brow of a hill on which their city was built, that they might throw him off a cliff. This is Jesus for telling the truth. In John 8:59, they tried to stone him for telling the truth again. John 11, they plotted to put him. Remember John 8? John 8 was where the woman was caught in adultery, and then the Pharisees and Sadducees started arguing with him. And he said, before Abraham was, I am, claiming to be God, right? Equality with God. And then in John 11, they plotted to put him to death after raising Lazarus from the dead. Same thing. He raises a guy from the dead, and their answer is, oh, we have to kill him. Like, why not bottle that and sell it? Like, can you imagine how that could have changed Israel? The cross is the ultimate display of cancel culture, and it didn't stop there. The disciples went into the same thing. All but John was martyred. All the disciples were killed, except for John. In fact, Fox's Book of Martyrs documents 1,000 Christians were killed every day of the calendar year, except for January 1st. They must have been sleeping it off. Cancel culture is rash. It leads to judgment without due process. The victim seldom gets equal time for rebuttal, if any. They just want anyone that disagrees with their point of view or their worldview, they just want to shut it down. They just want to shut them down, run them out of town, run them out of business. It's a glorified lynch mob. And right now, that lynch mob is pointed at the church. It's pointed at us. They want everyone to hate who they hate. That's
What's Josh 859?
what?
I have it corrected.
Yeah.
I want the credit.
I think I need to
now.
put something.
Where is that?
Typo, John,
Bottom of the
859.
859.
Well, I'll talk to my secretary about that.
Forgot the N.
So now that we've finally established a problem, what do we do about it? The Bible teaches the opposite position that cancel culture teaches. Paul says to the Romans, if it be possible, as much as lieth in you, this is Romans 12, 18 to 21, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, rather give place to wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing you shall heap coals of fire in his head. Be not overcome with evil, overcome evil with good. That's in Romans 12. Here, the biblical admonition is not to cancel your enemies, but to help them. Vengeance belongs to God. Instead of canceling our enemies, we should feed them, give them water. If you're going to kill someone, kill them with kindness. We should love one another more than we disagree with one another, not canceling each other. Jesus said the same thing to the Jews. He said, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you in Matthew 5. Peter says the same thing to the rest of us. Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing in 1 Peter 3, because this you are called so that you may inherit a blessing. Paul says the same thing. Make allowance for each other's faults. That's a big, big saying. And forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Colossians 3:13. Jesus said this, and he was the hardest on it. And when you stand praying, forgive if you have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive your trespasses. But if you do not forgive, neither will your Father, which is in heaven, forgive you your trespasses. Mark 11:25 and 26. Holding a grudge cost you your soul. And that's just what cancel culture is trying to do. That's the sin of cancel culture. He that is just, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy. In the last page of the Bible, you can read that, Revelations 22. That's cancel culture. Now woke. First, begin with Webster's definition of woke, which is pretty much U.S. slang, which now is mainstream. Aware of and actively attentive to important societal facts and issues, especially issues of race and social justice, often is used in contexts that suggest someone's expressed beliefs about such matters are not backed with genuine concern or action. In language or politically liberal or progressive, as in matters of racial and social justice, especially in a way that is considered unreasonable or extreme. Woke capitalism is when business have a business plan where you don't use fossil fuels, you try to use renewable and clean energy and those kind of resources. That's woke capitalism. Very much part of the woke crowd lingo is an anagram called DEI. Have you all heard this on the news? DEI. This stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. In its application, because that's not what they want, in its application, it's racism, communism, and exclusion. This is what the real definition should be. This is my take on this. It's an authoritarian system that is seeking to overthrow the bibliocentric worldview held by Christians and like-minded secular conservatives by silencing, bullying, overwhelming, overpowering, bankrupting, and bringing down anyone or any group that doesn't promote or adhere to that sick ideology and seeks to replace that worldview with one that places the desire of the minority over the rights of everybody else, making the majority now slaves to the minority, taking the wealth of the earner, redistributing it to those who will not earn, and excluding those whose racial makeup or creed places them somehow in that majority. Woke ideologies have been around for centuries, and this is the holy trinity of this whole topic. Karl Marx, Friedrich Nietzsche, and Sigmund Freud. What do these three lunatics have in common? They hate God and they hate you if you like them. That's the only thing they could agree on. A severe hatred of God. This is what Karl Marx said about Christians. Religion is the opium of the people. The social principles of Christianity preach cowardice, self-contempt, abasement, submission, humility. In a world, all the qualities of the masses. To destroy Christianity, we must destroy the British Empire. That's Karl Marx. Not a fan of Jesus, How about Nietzsche? There is not enough love and goodness in the world to permit giving any of it away to imaginary beings. Is man one of God's blunders, or is God one of man's blunders? Like it's just a figment of our imagination, Jesus rising from the dead. Everything good is a transmutation of something evil. And listen to this from Nietzsche. Every God has the devil for a father. Not a nice guy. Sigmund Freud is the worst of the three. Religion is an illusion. Define religion as this is what he told people studying psychology, how they should look at Christians. Define religion as a universal obsessive compulsive neurosis. That if you believe in God, you're neurotic. I regard myself as one of the most dangerous enemies of religion. Neither in my private life nor in my writings have I ever made a secret of being an out-and-out unbeliever. Religion is a system of wishful illusions.
No, Sigmund, don't come for.
That's Freud.
I'm scared of you, bro.
And psychology is just doing the same thing.
Meet him in hell.
It should be no surprise the role communism, atheism, and psychology has played in the backsliding state of America and the world we live today. 90% of this, of what's going on the public discourse regarding everything that is stupid right now, comes from psychology. That verified it. That validates the position because it's medical. It's insane. Double mastectomies for 13-year-old girls and chemical castration for 9-year-old boys. And the parents don't have to be notified. That's the law in America right now. There are places in America locally where that's the law, and it's happening. It happens right now.
These poor kids have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah. And the same, this is a thing. This is a funny thing. This is supported, and the school system right now doesn't have to tell the parents if their kid is changing his pronoun and stuff. It can all be kept under wraps, and the same kids can't get tattoos without their parents' permission. Serious. But it's okay to chemically castrate a 9-year-old boy or give a 13-year-old girl double mastectomies. It's inexcusable. It's disgusting. We live in it. And if you say something about it, they want to shut you down. You're the problem for defending children. Good luck shutting me down. It ain't going to happen because I tend to let stuff leak out on occasion. All of them ought to spread ideology that defines life's problems. All three of these, the communists, the atheists, and the psychologists, they want to spread the ideology that defines life's problems in a single worldview. This is how they're doing this. This is how they're pulling this off. It's the oppressor against the oppressed. Once that seed's planted in the national dialogue, you only have to assign the title of the oppressor to your enemies and the oppressed to your allies. It's like your group is attacking my group unfairly. The oppressor, see, once you establish that, if you see everything as you're the underdog and I'm the oppressor, or I'm the underdog and you're the oppressor, all you have to do once you get that dialogue started is you pick yourself as the victim and find out how the other side is oppressing you. And that's how you can eliminate what they're doing. I see that clock there. I see what you're doing back there. The oppressor is traditional marriage. The oppressed is gay marriage. The straight community is the oppressor. Christianity, the majority race, the rich, legal citizens, pro-life, democracy, police, and law. Those are all oppressor categories. The oppressed are gay marriage, LGBTQ, atheists or spiritists, minorities, the poor, illegal aliens. Pro-abortion people are the oppressed. Socialism, the anarchists, the police and law, they're the oppressor class. Critical race theory, or CRT. These are one of now start the 5 major rants of wokeism. Critical race theory, you can read that when you get home because we're already over time. The charges of white supremacy, systematic racism. To be woke means you have to come to accept that America is defined only by we built our nation on race, on slavery. That is the position. And all white people have benefited from it. That's the inequities that exist in society are modern. In the 60s, you didn't have it. It didn't happen until the Warren Earl Court of 1961. And this is what happened. Look at these statistics, just on the racial breakdown in America. Look at these stats from Candace Owens, a wonderful conservative black champion. I wish she would run for president. I'd vote for her. For conservative Christian issues, an advocate fighting for the future of black children in America. She's a young black lady that most of you, she runs around with Charlie Kirk a lot. These stats come from her desktop. 90% of black people in America are raised in single-parent homes. 72% of black children are born out of wedlock. 64% of violent crimes are committed by blacks, with only 12% of the population. 51% of murders in America are committed by blacks, with only 12% of the population. 40% of the abortions in America are black, with only 12% of the population. 7,500 murders of black people killed by black people occur in America every year. The number one cause of death in the black community is homicide. More black children in New York City alone, within the city limits of New York City, are aborted than are here for the last 15 years. They kill more black babies than they give birth to every year, just inside the city limits of New York. That's devastating. And none of this was the case in the 50s, in the 40s, and none of that was true. The poverty rate of married people in the black community today is in single digits. If you're African American and you're married, committed, the poverty rate of people in that situation is under 8%. Almost none of them. All of this problem has come when the dad is not in the home. The mom is doing what the mom can do alone. And it's financially incentivized by the U.S. government. The Bible says racism is sin. Don't get me wrong. The New Testament, where does the Bible say racism is sin? Does anybody know? Did anybody think? John 7:24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. That's a quote from John 7, spilling from the lips of Jesus. And he's quoting who? What Old Testament prophet? Samuel, when he's picking the sons of Jesse for David to be the king. Right? You judge unrighteous judgment because you judge on the outward appearance. God judges on the heart. That came from Samuel. But the Lord said to Samuel, don't judge by his appearance or height, for I have rejected him. The Lord doesn't make decisions the way you do. People judge by the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on a person's thoughts and intentions. Samuel 16:7. That's the last word on racism. Accusing someone of something they haven't done is a sin. You know what? We're not going to get far. It's already 10 after 8. What's wrong with you people?